Well, Republican Congressman Michael Turner just got kicked off of his House intelligence role, and he's blaming President-elect Donald Trump for it for good reason. Seems like Trump was behind this. So, what's the role, and why did Donald Trump allegedly kick him off a position of power? Well, Turner was the former chair of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, and the committee oversaw major spy agencies. So it's an important role. He liked being, the chair of this committee. But Representative Turner was frequently outspoken against Donald Trump and his brand of MAGA policies. And so to his credit, and I really do mean this, to his credit, because I know it takes a lot of courage to critique, criticize, and speak out against one of your own or your own political party. I mean, there's probably a bunch of YouTube channels who are now calling Representative Turner a progressive, but he's not. He has basically called out Donald Trump. He's voted to certify the 2020 presidential election, again, to his credit. That definitely drew Donald Trump's ire. Turner is also a big advocate for sending US military aid to Ukraine, whereas, Donald Trump and his base are not in favor of that. And Turner also supports the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, or FISA, which I do not. And so, again, that's another sign of someone who's very much on the right, very much in favor of the, military, of the surveillance state, all of that. And the many things Turner has called out when it comes to Donald Trump include the January 6th rioters and how Trump called them hostages rather than rioters. That bothered Turner, so he called Trump out on that. Keeping classified documents at Mar-a-Lago is another thing Turner criticized Trump for. He also criticized Trump for spreading rumors about Haitian migrants eating pets. And also Donald Trump alleging that his 2019 perfect phone call to Vladimir Zelensky was a perfect phone call. That is not the take that Turner has when it comes to that phone call. Now, given all of that, perhaps it comes to no surprise that, number one, you have this announcement, this tweet, or this post on X. I spoke with House Intel Chair Mike Turner, Republican from Ohio, who told me that Speaker Johnson has fired him as chair of the Committee Oversight and Intelligence Community. Johnson cited concerns for Mar-a-Lago as justification for the removal. So pretty clear that that's a reference to Donald Trump. The New York Times reports that Turner was furious after his meeting with Johnson. The speaker, though, is denying any involvement on the part of Donald Trump. So he says, this is not a President Trump decision. This is a House decision. And this is no slight whatsoever to our outgoing chairman. He did a great job. Well, then why did you fire him? Like, what's the reasoning? And it's worth noting that Johnson himself might have a personal beef with Turner thanks to some sort of incident that occurred last year. So Turner called on the Biden administration to declassify information about a serious national security threat. His vague warning ended up creating a lot of confusion and panic. People were like, oh my God, what's the national security threat? What's going on? Declassify it. Well, Mike Johnson actually had to go out of his way to calm everyone down. There was public outcry. He stated that there was no need for alarm. So what was this all about? It was later revealed that Turner was referring to concerns that Russia could create and deploy an anti-satellite nuclear weapon for use in space, which seemed overblown based on my read of it. So I don't know if that's enough to get Mike Johnson to literally kick him off his chairman role for this committee. I do think Donald Trump likely had something to do with it, but that is the price you pay in a world where Trump is the head of the Republican Party and doesn't like criticism. And I hate that. I think what Trump did here is wrong. I don't think that he should flex his power in this way because it makes him look pathetic. It makes him look weak. It makes him look unable as the president of the United States to handle any criticism or anyone speaking out of turn or speaking against him. What do you think, Waz?
Yeah, it's tough because he's this guy's a little Congress critter, so he's definitely easier to crush. I think somebody in the Senate, it'd be a lot harder to do. And I think it's because like the ties that bind these freaking senators, like they freaking love each other. Like people are pretty sure that Marco Rubio is going to get some Democratic Party votes in the Senate to just sail through because like he's in the club, like they stick up for each other. And I think he can only do that because he is very powerful amongst the base. Like he has a 90-something% approval rating amongst Republican voters. And so he can push his weight around like that. And you're right, it does make him look small and it does make him look petty. But I think it also does serve as a warning to other members of the party that like, if you don't get in line, I'll crush you. And
that's a problem.
Tough. It's tough.
And look, I don't think Trump realizes or the Republican Party realizes that they're headed down a very dangerous path for themselves. Like when it comes to their own ability to maintain power. And I say that as someone on the left who has experienced a party that is unwilling to ever accept any criticism or engage in any self-reflection. When you do that, you become stagnant. There's no development, there's no growth, there's no listening to the people, there's no entertaining of legitimate constructive feedback. And that's when the party becomes weaker and more detached from the very people that they're supposed to serve. And so if, Donald Trump is leading this culture of don't accept any disagreement, don't accept any critique, that's not a good culture to engage in, but that's what they're doing. Let's see how far it goes.
Yeah, I like obviously I don't think this is the way a party should run. It's not my party. Some would say to keep your nose out of what we're doing in our own party. But yeah, this just seems like it's destined to rear its ugly head in ways that are way less, stupid than this. Like some serious things might come up where like some actual dissension is actually needed to steer this guy in a different direction. And I just think you would be smarter to use different ways. This guy probably thought that Donald Trump was finished in Republican circles when he was this brazen and went out and was against him. It was like, who cares? Like this guy is done. Like I'm gonna, certify the election. I'm gonna blah 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 blah. He probably and in those times, like it did kind of feel like this guy might be finished after losing to Joe freaking Biden of all people. But yeah, he made the wrong calculation, and I think you see why. Like a lot of times, these people, especially in public, are in lockstep. Like for instance, with the whole Vivek and Elon with the H-1B visas and all of that. Everybody killed Elon. Everybody killed Vivek. Everybody killed the visas. But when Donald Trump went out and defended Elon's position, AKA the anti-MAGA position, Laura Loomer did this. Steve Bannon went zip. And that's just how it goes. Against Trump. Nobody has said Trump backed it and it's BS. Literally.
You're right.
Backed
You're right.
the thing that they all were against. And when he came out and said, no, I've always loved these visas. We need more of them. We need more people to come in. Immigrants to come in. They didn't say anything. They backed down and just licked the boot of dear leader.
Well, I mean, they never attacked Donald Trump for that. You're absolutely right. But they did continue attacking Elon Musk, especially Bannon, because I think, well, number one, they're not going to go after Trump. Let's keep it real. But more importantly, I think they see Elon Musk as a bad influence on Donald Trump.
That's always the cope. Yep.
But are they really going to pretend like they don't know who Donald Trump is and how he operates? Again, he's a transactional person. He's not going to brush aside a guy who donated tens of millions of dollars to his presidential campaign. He's transactional, quid pro quo. You do me a favor, I do you a favor. Oh, you want me to loosen up some of the regulations as it pertains to H-1B visas? I think Trump will do it on behalf of Elon Musk. And I think that people like Bannon and Loomer know that Trump will do it on behalf of Elon Musk, which is why they're directing their hatred and ire toward him. So we'll see how that plays out. But look, all of this is to say that Trump can be moved on literally anything. Okay,
Yeah,
he can
there's not a
he
lot of things that he cares about outside of like, people staying at Mar-a-Lago for the trips and him getting these other deals. They just fat in his pocket to do absolutely nothing. Like he cares about that stuff. But in terms of, I think that's the gift and the curse of Trump's like non-ideology. The guy has no ideology. He
yeah.
doesn't. He's not some like, oh, I'm like this big libertarian that wants to deregulate us to crap and privatize Medicare and privatize social and blah, blah, blah. He's not some neocon where it's like, no, we need to project power and start wars like he doesn't have an ideology, which is nice, when he's going against some of the base instincts of some of the ideologues of his own coalition. But then, at the same time, when people are getting him to do stuff that you and I find to be abhorrent, he's not diametrically opposed to it.
Peter Hegseth could hardly be more suited to be Donald Trump Secretary of Defense. Even though he did not really he deemed unqualified by any conventional president, the former Fox News anchor lodged it out with Democrats in one of the ugliest cabinet confirmation hearings in recent administration on Tuesday. In the process, he created a blueprint for how the president-elect most provocative picks can handle their own hearings, including Pam Bondi, his backup choice for Attorney General, who steps up on Wednesday. By the end of Tuesday, Johnny Ernest, the lower Republican senator who expressed early reservation about Hegseth, announced she would back his confirmation and victory for Trump. On the substance, Hegseth was probably he was all at sea over the geopolitics of East Asia